Hi guys, we're live. Right now, as you can see, we got Coach Hack right there. He's in Omaha, and I'm in Bakersfield. We don't have Paul. Paul may or may not jump in here during the course of the show, and hopefully he does. So that's what we got today. So I guess I'm doing the Sensi commercial today.
Oh yeah,
Darn, I love Paul. He does such a good job with that.
yeah.
Guys, as you can see, that we're sponsored by Terry Christensen, and there's her link to her Sensi website. Use the website as it is posted up there. That's where you get to Terry and get her stuff. But right now, they're ending their fall collection. They're bringing out some new stuff. And they got all their holiday stuff. They got some really cool holiday stuff, guys, that you need to go check out the website. I've been up and down the website, and I'm going to probably end up ordering I think it was a snowman. A snowman warmer that I thought would look cute with it because we have snowman decorations in our house.
Heck yeah.
And so, and the wife's getting antsy. She wants to know when she can start making our house look like Christmas.
I asked my wife, we're the opposite at this house. I want to do it. I'm already listening to Christmas music. We have we have a radio station dedicated to Christmas music. But my wife's like, we're not putting up the tree yet.
I turn on right now in my car I have Sirius XM, and I haven't found the Christmas station for Sirius XM yet. But traditionally they have something going Christmas, at least one station. Right now already, so we'll see.
Yeah,
but I don't know if we have a local station that actually does it.
Yeah, we have a local one that starts November 1st and it goes all the way through Christmas.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got an email from my daughter.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I have to go see the. Okay, I don't know. To the people, I know we don't want to make this a personal thing, but I gotta go see another doctor today for my left knee for potential surgery on it, which I know I will have. But okay, so let's get started. We got a Purdue game this week. It's going to be, in my mind, it's a 50-50 game. It's one of those games that could go either way, and I know, Jason, you're probably thinking in your mind that there's no way we lose any of these last four games, and I'm thinking we could either win all four or lose all four or something in between.
Yeah, personally, I only have us possibly losing to Wisconsin. Because if Wisconsin gets physical and they do the Wisconsin things, that's what Iowa struggles with, right?
Right.
So I don't see them. There's no way they lose to Purdue in my mind, and there's no way they lose to Minnesota because I don't see Purdue's wide receivers getting open against Iowa. This is what happens when Purdue don't have wide receivers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have fun when they play against bad defenses, which is why Charlie's numbers are the way they are.
Right.
But he's had games where he's only had 4 catches and 15 yards against good defenses. So. In Wisconsin, torched Purdue's defense. And Iowa could do the same thing to Purdue's defense. They don't have George Kavlakis, or however you pronounce his last name, this year. They lost a lot on defense from last year's team.
Mm-hmm.
So I see, like, Purdue's defense is 65th in the country, whereas Northwestern's was 97th in the country. So, I mean, it's still up there. Purdue's defense still isn't that great. So I think Iowa can do just enough, and maybe even like with the changes that's happening at Iowa with the offensive line and stuff, maybe they can do the same thing to Purdue's defense they did to Northwestern, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, I mean, they've only made the changes 1 week, and that's all we have to go off of. Yeah, Northwestern's defense was 97th. But Purdue's is 65th, so it's still up there, right?
Yeah, it's still be reckoned with. I think Purdue's is giving up 25.5 points a game.
Yeah.
So if Iowa can score 27, we win.
I mean, Florida Atlantic scored 26 on them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they beat Florida Atlantic 28-26.
Yeah.
So Purdue's defense hasn't really played well all year, being honest.
I listened to Kirk Ferentz's radio show with Dolph last night, and He pointed out that the key to beating Purdue is to jump on Purdue early and stay ahead of them, and make Purdue chase them. He says if it goes the other way, it could be a long afternoon. If Purdue gets out front and they're chasing Purdue, it's going to be tough to, chase them and beat them.
Well, I agree with that because then they could run the football, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they're
Right.
chasing you, they're going to throw it on every down,
Right.
and you don't want to do that against Iowa because that turns the dogs loose, right? They're going to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long day. So I agree with what he's saying,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Right.
they've been running the football better than they ever have under, this coach. How did I forget his name? But
Well, and I looked up their running backs.
they have a
Devin-
true freshman that's been doing awesome.
Yeah, he's only averaging 80 yards a game, but he gets 5.4 carries. So it tells me that he's very effective when they hand him the ball, but he's not always running the ball.
Well, that was because he didn't start the beginning of the year.
Oh, he didn't?
No, he leads the team in rushing now.
Right, he does.
He took over like 3-4 weeks ago, I think, and he's been. He had one game where he had 180 yards rushing.
Oh, okay. Against who?
I can't remember who.
Okay.
Maybe it might have even been Northwestern. I mean, I'm not sure, but I mean, he's a good running back. And what Kirk's saying is, when the defense doesn't know what Purdue's doing, it's tough, right? Because they've been running the ball. But if you make them chase you, then they have to throw the football. Well, the defense can just go nuts. They don't have to worry about the run.
There was a time when we enjoyed everybody trying to run on Iowa because Iowa would stuff the run, and now it just seems like if people are very successful on the run against Iowa because they nickel and dime Iowa's defense here and there, and always if they do get themselves in a third or fourth down situation, they always manage to keep the drive alive against Iowa because Iowa just doesn't want to give up the deep thing, and so they're basically saying, "Yeah, we're going to give you your yardage." But
I mean, Michigan was able to do it, but
mm-hmm.
nobody else really has, right? Well, I guess the first half against Ohio State was kind of like that,
Right?
But I mean, they took over the second half, obviously, just throwing it wherever they wanted.
Right.
But, I think a lot of that had to do with the defense just saying, whatever, let's get out of this game. And because the offense obviously couldn't do a dang thing, right?
Right.
Well, I think that second half, that score had a lot to do with the defense saying, whatever. Because, Cooper got beat on that long one. I mean, he wasn't even close, right? So they were playing man coverage. Cooper had the one dude man-to-man, the number 4 for Ohio State, and Cooper couldn't run with him. So,
right.
I mean, I think that score had a lot. If Iowa was in the game, right, if Spencer didn't throw that interception at the very end of the first half,
which kind of turned the game around.
It gave Ohio State pretty much the game because it put them up by
2 scores.
2 scores, but I think didn't they get the ball to start the second half too?
Yeah,
I think
Iowa did.
Oh, Iowa did. Okay. Oh,
Iowa did, but they gave it right back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think.
Fumble snap first play.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean.
Yeah. So, and Ohio State probably scored on that play.
So I don't hold anything against the defense for the Ohio State game.
Right. I think the key, more importantly than anything, which has always been Iowa's philosophy, is to control the clock and control the yards and keep drives alive. Sometimes, even if they don't come away with the score, that they've chewed up some clock, because the longer they can keep the ball away from Purdue's high-powered offense, or at least the passing game, the better Iowa will be, and they don't have to worry about those being burnt by Charlie or anybody else.
Well, they ain't gonna have to worry about that anyway. I mean, Charlie's not. I mean, they gotta be route runners. You'll see.
Right.
There's a reason why Charlie had those bad games. Defense is adjusted, and now he has to use route running. It's just a fact. No matter what, every Iowa fan who loves him, and that's fine. I have nothing against Charlie. The reason he was down on the depth chart is because he can't run routes very well.
Right.
And Iowa doesn't throw the ball like Purdue, so you need route running to get open.
Yeah.
Like all those open receivers you see Iowa have, it's because they're good route runners. Now they got to catch the ball, they got to do all this other stuff, but they're getting open. We've seen it all year. They've had wide open receivers. That's what I want you. I cannot wait for this game, just to show you. To show if they try forcing it, you know how many interceptions O'Connell has this year?
How many does he?
Forcing the ball to Charlie. He went 3 weeks in a row on getting an interception, forcing the ball to Charlie. Because he's not getting open like he used to at the beginning of the year.
Does he have more interceptions than Petrus? Because Petrus has got a few racked up.
Well, Petrus has 5. I think O'Connell has 6 or 7.
Okay.
So he does. He also.
But he does throw. But he does throw the ball more. So that would.
But my point is, most of his interceptions are forced to Charlie.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this is interesting. Kirk talked about, and I think it was in his news conference about Charlie, about and the fact that was he surprised he left and everything. And the one thing he said is that during the spring, Charlie ascended the depth chart and became a better receiver than which leads me to believe if he truly had become a better receiver, why wasn't he on the depth chart at the end of the spring? Number one. And number two, why didn't they sit down and talk to him a little bit about it before he took off? And
he's got 8 interceptions, actually.
Okay, that's a lot. Okay, and then number three, that bothers me the most is if Charlie had stayed and due to the injury situation we had, he would have seen. I mean, he wouldn't see the kind of numbers he's got now with Purdue because he's the featured receiver. But he would have got some increased numbers this year, I think.
I mean, I don't know because Petrus has been so bad.
Right.
I mean, all the receivers, Bruce should have 50 catches right now.
I think he has 17. I think I looked.
Yeah, Bruce hasn't been covered all year.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want to talk about a quick route runner who is a lot like David Bell, right?
Right.
Now David Bell has better hands. Bruce has dropped a couple he should have caught. And Bruce gets mad, right, when he drops it, which tells you he really wants it. But, I mean, Charlie would not. I mean, Charlie may have 20 catches, 15 catches. I mean, he would have been wide open, don't get me wrong. But Petrus has to get him the ball. So that was – but I think hopefully with the defenses not being as good as they were, playing all those top defenses – I think it's going to help Iowa's offense. I think Petrus will be able to do well. I hope it continues anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's Bruce has 17 catches, which is third on the team.
Yeah.
Behind Ragaggini, who has 18, and then of course Laporta 41 leading the team.
Right. Yeah. You could have asked me. I would have gave you those stats.
Oh, okay. Well, I have them right here too. So.
Well, you did. You were looking at your phone as I was talking.
Yeah, that's where my stats are at.
Yeah.
Why write them down when I can just look it up real quick on the phone?
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have all that stuff memorized. But yeah, Bruce could have 50 catches. He's literally hasn't been covered. And as you've seen did you see all those videos I've shared on Twitter and Facebook? I mean, there's been so many opportunities with a clean pocket and wide open.
Right. I know occasionally announcers have mentioned that Bruce was wide open, but they haven't always caught the wide open person either. And then you would bring up the fact that nobody else caught it and go, "Oh crap, that guy was."
I mean,
he was open.
They've had open receivers all year, so. But I'm thinking Budmeyer, working with Petrus a little bit now. I think that was a huge benefit last week. I think the offensive line getting help was a huge benefit, and moving the players to where they should have been playing all year was a huge benefit. Moving the Colby to guard was a huge benefit. So, I mean, the players, the way they moved them around last week with, Kirk working with the O-line as well, and pretty much I think Kirk probably made the decisions on the players moving.
Right. Colby moving to guard, I think, was a big help. That's moving him inside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because on the outside, he couldn't hold back rushers.
like
Anybody.
anybody who was quick, he was
Mm-hmm.
screwed. He's a guard. Like he's a guard. He's a guard body, right?
Yeah.
He's not quick enough to play left tackle. I mean, or right tackle. Like he was at right tackle, but anybody who had any speed whatsoever could just get around him because he couldn't make that first move. So
sometimes he made the wrong first move in the wrong direction.
right.
Yeah, and the guy would just blindly go past him, and he wouldn't even know what happened.
And that to me has a lot to do with Barnett not being a good teacher. I know what Ferentz said, but we all can see the O-line is not being taught very well until last week, right? Yeah. We can all see almost every lineman made a mistake all year.
Right.
They made multiple mistakes, I mean.
Right.
They blocked air. Like literally they were blocking air a lot of times because they didn't know who to block.
Right.
That's teaching. I mean, you can't. Yeah. I mean, that's that.
How about simplify it and block the man in front of you?
Well, I mean, that's high school football. That's not D1. You can't.
I know that. I realize that, but geez, it's got to buy Petrus more time than what he was getting.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, they got to be able to block like a Division I football team, and they haven't looked like that most of the year.
Well, they haven't.
They had their times to where they did get a clean pocket for Petrus, and Petrus screwed up, right? But they haven't been able to run the ball all year. And a lot of that had to do with blocking the wrong person and having a free person come through. But a lot of that also had to do with like Colby being outside when he's a natural guard. So I love what happened last week. I love the fact that multiple coaches are working with the O-line, helping Barnett out.
Right.
That's
speaking of Barnett and what Kirk Ferentz said about him. I saw your post about it. You said it was coach speak. That he'd probably still be gone at the end of the year.
He's trying to polish a turd.
Yeah. I got a charge out of though. All I did was quote the words that Kirk Ferentz said and posted it without my own commentary. And boy, some people really got angry with me, like I'm the one who said it.
Yeah,
you know?
They did. Because there's just so many people who don't pay attention to Iowa sports.
Right.
And then when you say something that somebody said about Iowa sports, they don't think it's true because it's negative.
Right. It just bothers me. These people, they get on you and me, because we're trying to do this kind of stuff, but yet they don't even pay close enough attention, and then they get on there and they start popping off on something they know nothing about, and I just want to think, guy, don't you even read the stuff we post or watch our videos? Do you even watch the news? You're not even close.
Right. Yeah, you got to laugh. I mean, right now, they're trying to, I got tagged in a post about me saying Iowa's going to win out. Somebody tagged me in a post saying, how much do you guys bet? And I said, I'll bet, whatever. Nobody will comment when I say I'll bet. So
yeah.
There's another guy who literally said, want to bet with it was somebody else, right? Because somebody said Iowa's going to beat Purdue.
Right.
And somebody wrote, want to bet? And I said, yes, I do. And nothing.
Nothing, yeah. Yeah, when you're that confident, they don't want to deal with it because they're thinking, God, he might know something I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do for a living. So
yeah, it's just that some of these fans though that are just so casual and they're often on the bandwagon as it goes. 1 week they lose, let's fire the coaches, let's fire Petrus, let's get rid of him. The next week they win big. Oh, this team's gonna win out, and same fans.
I mean, last night I had a guy call me out because I was wrong this year, right? I was right 6 years in a row, and I was wrong this year. And he was having fun saying he was right, but he had Iowa 7-5 last year. So I was like, well, it is what it is. So you got to ignore that. That's why I laugh at your post sometimes, or I laugh at people who comment at your post because you just got to let it roll. Do your thing and ignore other people, and they'll go away.
Right. I mean, I just post what I post. I don't know if I'm somewhere in between this year, being you mentioned being negative a little bit, and in one of our group posts, and I'm probably the guy that always sees the glass half empty rather than half full.
I'm a
You
half
know when,
full guy. Yeah.
you
I'm
know,
always
and
positive. Good karma. Good karma.
yeah.
I'm a professional gambler. I need karma. So stay
But
positive.
when I say those things, I only mention them in a group text. You'll never see those same comments come up on a post and get rid of these things. Oh dang it, I hate this. But you'll never see me write that publicly in our group in our my groups
Right.
or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
Because honestly, it's like I get mad. I mean, like we're winning, and we're winning handily against Northwestern. I realize that, but I'm still seeing things that I think they need to fix. So I think I made mention that there's too many field goals. We need to score more touchdowns. We're still having trouble
No,
scoring touchdowns.
that was fine. They were trying to get touchdown passes. You
Right.
gotta look at it to what they were trying to do, right? They
Right.
had the lead. They knew they were going to win. If they would have ran the ball, they would have scored touchdowns, right?
Right.
So what they wanted is to get touchdown passes to shut
Right.
people up, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why, especially that last drive when Vines dropped that touchdown, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's what they were trying to do is just get more touchdown passes, but because they knew that they had the game. But Petrus is still ingrained. It's ingrained in him from parents. From Kirk is to not throw a pick in the red zone, right? Nate
Right.
Stanley was notorious for throwing touchdowns. He had 48 touchdowns, only one interception in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always been Kirk's thing, but Petrus doesn't see it quick enough. Like Stanley processed it faster. Where like there was one play where Regini was wide open coming across the field, and Petrus didn't see it until Regini was over here. He ended up throwing it out of bounds or whatever.
Right.
But right in front of him, Regini was wide open. So he still missed a lot in that game. Granted, there were drop passes, so they kind of right. He was what 21 of 30.
Yeah,
right?
21 of 30. Yeah.
So if you just think that's only 9 incomplete passes, and he had a couple throwaways, he had a couple drops, and he just missed some reads.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think officially they considered 4 drops in the game. They said.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. Vines had 2 of them himself.
Yeah, well, I love it. I love it that you're finally saying that Vines dropped that one in the end zone when you said I don't know. That's borderline whether that was a drop or not.
I had to go back in slow mo and watch it. And I did the same thing for the Porta's drop. I had to go back because that was in traffic. So for me, I'm sitting. I got a big screen, right? But I'm sitting back, and sometimes I can't see it that well. So at the end of the game, when I go back and watch it again, I get my recliner and I get up and then I stop it and do slow mo so I can see it. So sometimes when it's like quick like that, I don't necessarily see it. So that's why I did see it. It would have been a tough catch for Vines, though.
Yeah, right? I mean, it'd have been tough.
It would have been a great catch if he caught it. But that one he dropped, that very first one he dropped, was uncalled for. He would have been doing push-ups on the sideline if I was just
Sometimes I think, especially young guys like Vines. Well, I guess Vines is not young anymore, but he's Vines. I thought
he's a true freshman.
Is he?
Yeah.
Who am I thinking that's been in the program for 3 years, but this is his first year playing on the field?
I mean, nobody. Breck's in his second year. KJ and Bruce are in their second year. Like, I don't know who you're thinking of.
Hang on.
In his 6th year. So, I mean, not 6th year at Iowa, but he's in his 6th football season. I'm not sure who you'd be thinking of because Wick is a walk-on, but he doesn't play much anymore.
I guess I don't know who I'm thinking of because whoever I'm thinking of hasn't caught a pass yet this year. Okay.
I don't know any other receivers that are on the field.
Yeah. Got Wick, Vines, Johnson, who is no longer playing. The other Johnson running back has 1 catch. Pottebaum has 3. Gavin Williams has 6. Breck has 7. LaShawn Williams has 8. Okay, I just took it out. I took myself out of there. But anyhow,
Yeah, there's 3 sophomores, but KJ obviously isn't playing, so that hurts. You got Reganey, who is on fire right now. I
Mhm.
can't remember the last time he dropped the ball.
He's playing more like he did his freshman year. Remember how excited we got? He was just coming up with some crazy catches to extend drives.
In 2019.
Yeah,
So I think it might have been his sophomore year.
yeah.
But because he's in his COVID year right now. So
Is he
he's
in his COVID year? Okay, I thought
using,
he was. I thought he was using his regular fifth year.
I think he's using his COVID year this year, if I remember right. Because 2019 was, I think, his sophomore year, but that was the year where the receivers balled out.
Right.
Houdini led the team in catches. He had like
Mhm.
50 some. And then
Mhm.
you had ISM. You had Tracy. He had like 40 catches as a
Right.
true freshman.
Right.
All
Remember,
the receivers were balling out that year with Nate Stanley. Nate Stanley almost threw for 3,000 yards.
right.
He threw for 29.52 that season. So
Yep.
he's the closest to 3,000 yards Iowa has had since 2011. You know who that quarterback was?
2011 would have to be Stanzi.
No, it was
No,
Vandenberg.
Vandenberg.
Stanley's senior year was 2010.
Vandenberg.
Or Stanzy's senior year was 2010.
Okay. Vandenberg had close to 3,000 yards or over 3,000, but they didn't win.
No, they didn't. But they.
That was the year that Greg Davis came in and changed the offense on him.
Yes, that was the year that. No, that was actually the last year of Ken O'Keefe. 2012 was the first year of Greg Davis. That's when they went to that offense that everybody was so excited about because Vandenberg threw for over 3,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
In 2012, they went 4-8, which I think this is a huge reason why KF is. It's hard for KF to give up the offense he wants to run because he gave the keys to Greg Davis in 2012, and Iowa went 4-8, and it was the worst offense in the country.
But you also have to remember that Greg Davis didn't have the same personnel that he had at Texas. And the thing is we didn't have the personnel to run his offense.
No, it was silly to hire him because he couldn't bring Vince Young with him.
Right.
I mean, to be honest, he wasn't very good at Texas without Vince Young. So
right. I think that's because he didn't get let go from Texas.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So after Vince Young, it was like, you ain't that good. Vince Young saved your ass.
Yeah. But yeah, on this Purdue game, I can't see it. I mean, I'll admit if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll admit it on Monday. But I can't see Iowa losing this game at all. I can't see Purdue scoring 20 points.
Right. I mean, I'm gonna pick Iowa in every game. I mean, because they are winnable games, no doubt in my mind. You know, but to me right now, in my mind, they're 50-50 games, and I always said that Iowa has to win all their 50-50 games and win the teams it's supposed to beat in order to be a contender. And so we've not seen that happen this year, unfortunately.
No, the only loss that they shouldn't have had is the Iowa State game.
Mm-hmm.
If Pottebaum doesn't fumble inside the 5, they win that game.
I know. Or if they could have just had one crazy stop during that 99-yard drive.
Well, that too, but let's give them that. They earned that.
They did earn it.
That's all they earned against Iowa's defense. If Pottebaum doesn't fumble at the half-yard line or whatever it was, we're not even talking about losing to Iowa State, and we're 5-3, like Purdue. Purdue's 5-3,
right?
And then Iowa State's 2-6. Oh, God.
Yeah,
you imagine
we're. Yeah, I guess at 2 and yeah, we're 2-3, and I think I saw on BTN last night we're in a 4 or 5 way tie for third place.
3-way.
3-way. Is it a 3-way? With Minnesota,
Nebraska, Minnesota,
Iowa.
I don't think anybody else is 2-3.
Okay.
It might be. There might be a fourth one, but
yeah, I'd have to get out the stats. I mean, because this week I think we start to see some separation.
Oh yeah, I mean it's going to start because the West is playing the West, right? Yeah. Illinois is playing Nebraska, right?
Right.
No, Illinois played them last week.
I have it right here. Okay. Iowa playing
Oh,
Purdue.
Wisconsin. So there is four teams.
Yeah. Minnesota playing at Nebraska.
Yeah.
Michigan State at Illinois. PSU at Indiana. We don't have that many crossovers. I mean, that many head-to-head West. Just 2. Everybody else is still playing a crossover. So Wisconsin's playing Maryland, which this will tell me about if Wisconsin really has.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Righted the if Wisconsin has righted the ship. If
Yeah.
they,
Yep.
but they're at home, so I'll give them that. But I think Maryland can pull it off if they can find a way.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's going to be up to if the defense for Maryland can handle the pounding, because Wisconsin has got it figured out now, right?
Right.
It just took them a little bit after they fired Paul Chryst, but now the offense is figuring out what they want to do, and they're back to pounding the football. Boy,
Right.
They just took it to Purdue. Purdue could not stop their running game for nothing. I think Wisconsin was up 28-0, maybe 28-3 or something like that before they let Purdue come back in the fourth quarter. And it was it was 35-24, I think, was the final.
Who's that running back that Wisconsin's got? Because he's turning out to be, quite the running back.
Yeah, no, he's a former linebacker. They moved him to running back, and he's a stud. He's angry. He runs like a linebacker. I mean, he's just tough. It's tough to tackle. Yeah. He's big. He's fast. So Wisconsin knows how to find those running backs.
Right. And then we got Minnesota at Nebraska later. That one's a tough call for me.
Yeah, I think Nebraska could. I mean, they're going to have their defense is so bad. They're going to have to score, right?
Right. I mean, Minnesota is going to be a scoring machine too. So, and Nebraska can score. This could be a high-scoring game where the last person with the ball could possibly win or lose the game.
Yeah, like Nebraska-Purdue game was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what didn't Purdue win, like 42-38 or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it could be the same. The difference is Minnesota's going to hold on to the ball because they'll run. They'll just pound you.
Right.
They'll run a quick slant. They run the same dang play over and over. It's just this freaking RPO, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just ride, and then hit the quick slant, or it's ride, go. So
the thing with Minnesota is they're not a clock chewer like Iowa is. I mean, they're basically a quick strike offense, I think.
Yeah, Minnesota, it's the opposite.
Yeah. The opposite? Okay.
Yeah, they don't quick strike at all. They pound you.
Okay, I guess I got them mixed up for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, their time of possession is probably through the roof. They just pound you over and over and over. They give it to their running back. Like, the only games they lost are games that they didn't have their running back.
Oh, right? Okay, yeah. And their quarterback is back for Minnesota. The question is, Nebraska. I mean, I think Nebraska's lost their quarterback.
Yeah, Thompson.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be back in time for the Iowa game or not.
I mean, was he out this week for sure?
Yeah,
he is. Okay, I wasn't sure if he was out, but I mean, if he's out, then Minnesota probably runs away with it.
Yeah. Although, why don't we go while we're talking about? Let's just go over your picks real quick. Because of the Maryland-Wisconsin game, I did choose Wisconsin, and Paul took Maryland.
Oh, I'm going to go Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think it's a safe pick in my opinion.
I think they could pound Maryland.
Okay. Iowa at Purdue. I know you're taking Iowa. I'm taking Iowa. Paul took Purdue. I think just to be different, he said.
Yeah, I saw it. Just because his picks are so bad that he hopes he loses again.
Ohio State at Northwestern. This is easy in my book.
Well,
Ohio State. Yeah,
they're going to score 100 points in that game.
Yeah. Minnesota at Nebraska. I did pick Nebraska. Paul took Minnesota.
I'm going to take Minnesota because of the quarterback situation.
Yeah, I think I'm going to change that up and go back to
Yeah.
Minnesota too.
Because without Thompson, Nebraska's nothing. Their offensive line is so bad. Thompson is a very good quarterback. I was impressed with him. He got the crap kicked out of him this year, and he was still completing good passes. So he was the quarterback I was comparing. If he was at Iowa, Iowa would probably only have one loss, and that'd be to Ohio State. If they had Thompson, because even with the bad offensive line, he knows where to find the receivers.
Right.
He knows the pre-snap where he can go if he's being rushed. So because the offensive line in Nebraska is just like Iowa, they're terrible.
Right.
And he was just getting pounded, but he was completing passes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so, and that's the key. A lot of these other quarterbacks I'm really impressed with. Like, why can't our quarterback be like that?
Well,
why can't Iowa recruit a quarterback like that?
Well, we had one. We had Stanley.
Yeah,
he did it. I mean, he passed for over 8,000 yards, 68 touchdowns.
I know it.
It's only been Petras that slowed the offense down, like when you go off the quarterbacks.
Yeah,
or
Jake Christensen the year he was there.
Well, yeah. I mean, but Jake's actually done better than Petras. So
he did. Okay.
Yeah, Jake completed 65% of his passes. I think he had.
Really, I didn't think he was even above 50.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Go on with the next one, and I'll find it.
Okay. Michigan State at Illinois.
Oh, that's Illinois.
Yeah.
I'm gonna root my butt off for Michigan State, but it's Illinois.
Yeah, it's Illinois. Okay. Paul did the same thing. He took Illinois. Penn State at Indiana.
Oh, Penn State. I mean, that's a toss-up. Yeah, Jake Christensen had 21 touchdowns and only 9 interceptions. Petras has, in 3 years, Petras only has 22 touchdowns and 18 interceptions.
All right, my bad.
Memory.
I'm bad because I just seem to remember him not completing passes every time I watched him.
No, he did. He completed 55% of his passes for a career.
Well, that's not bad.
He completed 65% of his passes his freshman year. That's where I was. But his career ended up being 55, so he went down.
So the longer he stuck around, the worse he got.
Yeah.
So then final game is Michigan at Rutgers.
Michigan.
I have Michigan. I'm sure you do too.
Yep.
Paul does too. We really
What about the big one? Do you have the Georgia Tennessee game?
I don't, but get it on here and I'll get Paul's pick. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Georgia.
Is it at Georgia or at Tennessee?
I think it's at Georgia.
I'm gonna take Georgia. And who did you say you're taking?
Georgia. I have Georgia winning the national title, so I'm all Georgia.
Well, let's hope it's Ohio State.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for Ohio State. I just don't think anybody can beat Georgia.
All right. Okay. I'll get Paul's pick later. I'll email
him. It's at Georgia. Georgia's favored by 8.
Wouldn't that be cool if Tennessee could pull the upset off? And
Georgia? I
mean, that would be cool to pull them out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I've been rooting for. I love Tennessee's offense. They're so fun to watch. I hate their defense, but it's the offense that puts the defense in bad situations.
Right.
I mean, it's just they're exactly the opposite of Iowa, right? They're not going to put their defense in a bad situation if they can't help it. But I absolutely love watching Tennessee's offense. So I'll be rooting for Tennessee, but my brain, I've already picked Georgia to win the national title again.
Okay.
And my brain's picking Georgia in this game. Until I see Georgia get scored on, like Tennessee can, like what they did to Alabama. But Alabama's not nearly as good as Georgia. So Alabama may not even be in the playoffs. I don't see them in the playoffs because I think Alabama's going to lose another one. And then they might lose the SEC championship game if they get to it. So
right, they got to Georgia and Tennessee are in the same division, right? Mm-hmm. And so likely Alabama wins the other division. So one of those two teams is going to be facing Alabama again.
Yeah, and I think Alabama will lose. Um,
It's
yeah.
nice. I think everybody jumping for joy when Alabama loses.
Well, it's just old.
And I think the cool thing is about these playoffs is, Clemson and LSU have both been there, but they're not like Alabama where they're consistently a top 4 team, a playoff
Right.
team.
I don't think. Yeah.
It's just nice that they're not dominating. Right now Georgia is starting to dominate, but let's hope that their domination runs out after this year.
Right. Kansas State, Texas is another one, but Iowa State plays West Virginia. Iowa State has a chance. Both teams are 3-5.
Oh wow!
So they got to play some offense. It's
Well,
bad.
yeah. The Iowa State's offense, as we found out, is bad.
Yeah.
Except for the one drive all year that they looked like superstars, and they had to be against Iowa.
Well, there was also penalties on Iowa in that drive too.
Questionable penalties, if you remember right.
Yeah.
There was a lot of controversy, and then the one catch was a controversy too, where they allowed Iowa State to go and punt, hike the ball and put it in play before the referees could call for a replay.
Right.
And take a look at that play. But yet when Iowa did it on their possession, even after Iowa already took the ball and ran a play.
Right.
Previous plays under review.
I remember you complaining about that at the time.
Yeah.
In our group.
Because, even if it had gone Iowa State's way the first time and Iowa's way the second time, they still didn't treat them as the same. And, of course it was Big 12 refs. I don't know. As much as I hate to say it, I thought the pickings last year were ripe for Iowa State to beat Iowa, and I kind of thought maybe there was a chance that Iowa State could rise up this year because I didn't know early in the season what they really had. But we should have won that game.
Oh, yeah.
That should not have been a loss.
If Pottebaum doesn't fumble, Iowa wins that game. They go up 14-3. And it's over.
That was the Illinois game. We thought we had a pick six, and they took it back.
Fumble six.
Was it a fumble six?
It was a scoop and score by Moss.
Yeah.
And then they would have that one too. So they.
Yeah, I know. Well, the whole thing with that one I was happy that he scored it. And I'm thinking, all right, and then. Of course, I'm always looking at the score line there to see if there's a flag, and there's a flag, and so I'm going, I'm not even excited. It'll go against Iowa. I just know it will.
Yeah, but it wasn't a fumble anyway. That's how they got the. Is that how they got the?
Oh, that's what it was. It was they were checking on the whether that was an actual fumble or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. It wasn't a flag deal.
Right.
Okay, so.
All right.
What do you think? Should we wrap this up and call it good for Purdue?
Let's do it. Purdue's going to lose. So there you go.
Yeah. Purdue, you're losing.
Yeah.
You come to our place and beat us. We're going to your place and taking you down. And
I'm interested. I want to see those receivers against Iowa.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see because, Charlie's used to going against them in the Iowa practice. Our defensive backs and stuff, and the defensive backs are used to going against Charlie. So this could be interesting matchup. I think these guys know each other's tendencies well enough.
I'm just excited because like I was telling you guys, there's a reason O'Connell is having one of his worst years, right? Mm-hmm. He's completing 62% of his 65% of his passes, and he's only got 15 touchdowns. Nate Stanley did better than him, right? Mm-hmm. In two seasons, there's only 4 games left for him to get his 9 touchdowns to even have Nate Stanley's stats. And that's throwing the ball. He's already thrown it for 315 times, and he still doesn't have the stats. And the reason he's throwing 8 interceptions is because he doesn't have receivers to get open. Last year, he threw 11. Last year, he threw 28 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. But he's not going to get those. He doesn't have David Bell. He's not going to get those those touchdown passes like he did. It's when what helps Purdue look good is when they play bad teams, they destroy them, right? They put up all these yards that add up at the end of the year. But when you actually look at the losses, like who they played, like Wisconsin shut them down for 3 quarters. I mean, like I said, I think Wisconsin was up 35-10 or something at one point in the 4th quarter, right? Then I think Purdue scored 2 touchdowns and made it 35-24. But, I mean, like that's what I want to see. I don't think all these like tendencies or whatever, Charlie's not going to know what covers they're going against. Because what you don't maybe you don't know this, but you remember back in the day when Danon Hughes got hurt on kickoff in practice?
I remember, but I didn't remember he got hurt.
That's why Kirk doesn't. That's one thing he took from Fry, where he doesn't do live special teams. What he doesn't also do is they never go ones versus ones. So technically, Charlie's never went up against Iowa's starting defense.
Okay.
They go ones versus twos both ways. So the twos would have went up against Charlie, right? So these tendencies and all that, I mean, he's not going to know what's coming. I mean, it's going to be completely different because especially when they play Purdue different anyway. If they play Purdue the same way, which is why route running is so tough. That's why David Bell would be the only receiver getting all the balls because you can't cover David Bell.
Right.
You can cover Charlie Jones. So that's the difference. It's not going to be him being used to Iowa's defense. Like I said, he didn't play against the ones. He never went up against Riley Moss in practice. You know what I mean? Oh, you're freezing.
You frozen, I think.
Me? I'm not on my end. You are frozen on my end, and
unfreeze.
I'm frozen on yours. You're barely alive there.
Well, you froze up and you disappeared.
Oh wow! Well, on my end, I was still looking pretty.
I was me, huh?
Well, on my end, yeah. I don't know what your end was.
All right. Well, maybe we should get out of here while the getting's good.
No, I agree. Like I said, I can go on and talk about football forever, so I could have gave you the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the point is, Charlie and Tracy have never gone against these guys because they go up against the twos. So that was the point.
Okay, guys. We're going to get out of here. Enjoy the game, and we'll be back on Monday to discuss the outcome. Hopefully an Iowa victory over Purdue.
It will be. Go Hawks. Bye. Go Hawks.